Hello today, and we're going to be talking about, maybe it could be a bit of a touchy subject, because I know this is going to lead into a little bit of a disagreement, I think, but I just feel I just want to talk about this. Why did it all go wrong for Amstrad? Well, the computer side anyway. A reason that comes to mind. This is solely to the newer. Well, I say the newest, 25 years old. The plus range of the Amstrad computers, the 464 Plus and the 6128 Plus, including the GX 4000. These machines all come out at about the same time, so that's why all these three computers are in line. Not just the GX 4000, it's the Plus computers as well. I can tell you why they failed, and not a lot of developers wanted to use them. Reason why, they're 8-bit computers. 1990 they came out, and 1990 was spelling the end almost to the 8-bit generation. I think about 1991, I think that was the final year that games were available for them. I mean, I bought my Commodore 64 in 1991, I think, because I wanted one of these Plus computers. I wanted the Amstrad 464 Plus. For some reason they weren't selling them, or they wasn't in stock yet, because I really wanted one, because I had the Amstrad CPC 464 and it developed problems, so I thought, well, hang on, this could be the way to go. Getting the Plus range, getting one of the Plus. Being the tape, I was going for the 464 Plus. I think for its time there was in about the £300 mark. Pretty expensive, knowing that you could get an Amiga 500 for not more than that. I think about, it's in the £300 or £400 when he was getting a 16-bit computer. But what spelled the end of the Amstrad computers, I think they came out way too late. They brought these Plus machines out in 1990, knowing damn well that the 16-bit was in full swing with the Amiga and the STs, Atari ST. And the Amiga 500, no, not the Amiga 500, the Amiga first came out in 1985, 1 year after the Amstrad CPC 464 came out. So Commodore was developing so quickly, and the Amstrad was pretty new to this game, because Amstrad wanted to compete against the ZX Spectrum and the Commodore 64, and obviously the other 8-bit systems, which it done perfect. It competed, no problems with them. It was a great machine. You know, everyone that says about the Amstrad, who's owned an Amstrad, said yes, it's a great machine, and it was, because it had a brilliant colour palette. It used the AY chip, which did produce some good sounds, and it did. The Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum was 2 years older, but you know, Commodore 64 was brilliant. Obviously, so was the ZX Spectrum, and Amstrad knew this. Well, Alan Sugar knew this, so he wanted to compete. But the problem is, where Commodore was developing, and I think Sinclair was and all, they were both developing a 16-bit system. Unfortunately, the Sinclair QL Quantum Leap failed. Obviously that was the reason why Sinclair went bankrupt and sold to Amstrad. I think that was anyway. So their 16-bit computer failed. Where the Amiga was fantastic, it triumphed. But the problem with the Amiga was when it was released in 1985, it was too expensive. People couldn't afford it. It was just too expensive. I think it cost about in the £1,000 mark, which was a lot of money, way too much for people to buy. So they waited till 1987 and released it, the Amiga 500, and that was a big hit. It was affordable. Well, I say it was affordable. It was, if you had, I think it come out, it was about in the £500 mark. To be honest with you, that's how much the Commodore 64 was when that first got released in the UK. Or the £300 mark. I don't know. Computers were expensive back then. But the problem is, Amstrad was trying to. It was competing with the 8-bits, and they just kept on re-releasing the CPC 464. Obviously, they brought out the 664 and 6128. 6128 had a disk drive and 128K memory. So that competed against the Commodore 128. Don't think Sinclair brought out. I don't think they did. They did bring out a 128, but that's when Amstrad took them over. But Sinclair, I think they was working on their 16-bit system, and unfortunately it didn't work. It worked, but I don't think it took off. I think there was problems with it. That's what caused the problems. Spelt the end for Sinclair. Was the Quantum Leap, the QL. But the problem with Amstrad was he was a businessman. He looked at figures, unfortunately, and they developed those 3+ computers, well, including the GX4000, too late. It was released in 1990. What they should have done was stop redeveloping, refining 464, because I don't think the 664 and the 6128 got refined. They might have done, but I know they kept on refining the 464, but with no improvements. And what they should have done was bring out those plus computers, say maybe about 1986 or 1987. Developed it quicker. They've developed it way too late. Because the reason why, 16-bit was going to make a major impact. It was coming, and 8-bits were going out. It was coming to an end. It was an end of an era. The 90s was about 16-bit. Well, beginning of the 90s anyway, late 80s, early 90s. Was the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo was about to come, and Amstrad was also competing against the consoles, the Sega Mega Drive, the Sega Master System rather, and the Nintendo. Not the Super Nintendo, the first Nintendo, the white one with the boxy one. Yeah, the 8-bit version, the 8-bit one. They was selling like hotcakes. People wanted to play games. They didn't want complications. I think the tape era was coming to an end. We had your cartridges. Just stick it in the machine, switch it on, bang, you got your game. Tapes were a thing in the past. Tapes take too long to load. People wanted more convenience. Want it there straight away. Now, but what Amstrad should have done was brought those plus computers and the GX4000 to compete with Nintendo and the Master System, because the its enhanced colour palette, what I've seen, I've even played emulations, I've never owned one, but the emulations were brilliant. You know, if they would have bought, they would have had the most sophisticated 8-bit system, Amstrad. This GX4000 was a console version of the Plus, 464 Plus and 612 Plus, and it had all its hardware. It had an advanced colour palette, brilliant thing it was. But unfortunately they released it too late. It was in the firing line of the 16 bits, which no way those 8-bit systems could compete with them. So developers for program games and all that lost interest. Why the hell should they program for an 8-bit system where the 16-bit systems were there? That was, you know, that was the 90s. That was what was there now with the Amiga and these consoles are coming out. No one was interested in 8-bit anymore. Because I know, I think it was 91, 92, I think that I noticed a decline straight away of cassettes. There was hardly any games available to buy in shops. You know, that was I think that was 91, 92. I noticed this when I bought my Commodore 64 in the early 91. Well, I'm glad I bought it. It was cheap. It was really cheap. It was brand new. My mate had one, so I bought one. These new Amstrads weren't available for some reason, so I really wanted one of those new Amstrads. I wanted the 464 Plus, but they cost. I remember seeing them in Dixon's, you know, advertised. It was in the £300 mark. What is expensive? The GX4000 was just under 100 quid. But I didn't want one. I did not want the GX4000 because I don't want a console. Basically, if I was going to go for another Amstrad, it would have been the 464 Plus because I had so many games for it. And I know the cassettes would work on it, so I'd still get the same gameplay. But knowing, you know, if they developed it, I would have got better. You know, these mode 1 games, I would have got more colour in newer games, not in the old games of course, but newer games. So that's a pity. That was a big pity. They should have developed that. Say about 86, 87. They should have brought out those Plus computers with the GX4000. Amstrad would have had a success with them, and they could have gone on to develop a 16-bit system, maybe to compete against the Amiga and the ST. I mean, if they can create such a great computer with a good colour palette system for the 8-bits, I'm sure they could have done a great 16-bit computer. I think they did. They did make a 16-bit computer, but obviously it didn't take off. I think that was too late. Because, as I say, the 16-bit come out computers, but I think more people were more interested in the Mega Drive and Super Nintendo if you was a serious gamer. People loved the Amiga, of course they did, but I noticed when I had my Amiga, it was great until, say, 94, 95 time when the Sony PlayStation came out. When that came out, wow! I think the Amigas, the games just got less and less about the mid-90s. I felt that that day had come to an end. The 16-bit. So then my next choice, what was it going to be? It was a PC. It was a PC. I didn't want a games console. Okay, I like my games, but I've always stuck with computers, not consoles. Yeah, so it bloody skimped me, that did. The cheapest PC I bought, and that was almost £1,000. It's really skint. I was skint. Couldn't even afford hardly anything after that. But to me, that was the way to go. But I'm going off at a tangent already. Yeah, but you know, if Amstrad used their noodle, yes, he's a businessman, but you know, he should have had more business sense to think, right, well, what stopped refining the Amstrad CPC 464? We'll get our team. Now they had a good team of computer experts there. They built the CPC 464 as well as the 664 and the 6128. So they had the team. They had a great knowledge of computers, how to build a computer, and you know, there was developers already for the Amstrad. The program on the Amstrad was great, making some real good games for it, real good conversions. Oh yes, there was disappointments as well, big disappointments, but I've seen disappointments on every system. So it ain't just the Amstrad. So there was a good computer there. But Amstrad waited too long to release those the GX4000 and the Plus machines, which is unfortunate. Unfortunately, Amstrad went on to build some crap. Well, not crap, but the quality was crap. They had the double decker video, which I had. Unfortunately, quality of it was shit. The Amstrad quality, the computer itself was good quality, but their video equipment, Amstrad satellite systems, which I had with Sky, they were shit. The first I think we bought a lot of Amstrad because they're cheap. Dad had the first stereo, well, not the first, but he had a stereo Nikon digital stereo video recorder. That developed problems after a few, well, so about a year it developed problems, started crackling, it was crap. And Amstrad in the 80s developed that stupid recording studio thing, which was horrible. We had one of those and it was crap, terrible. Basically that's it. Yeah, it's a shame because, you know, Amstrad could have gone a long way with computers, but Alan Sugar, being the businessman he is, decided to screw it up. Mind you, this was enhancement of the GX4000 Plus machines, unlike the fucking Commodore 64 GS, the game system. That was crap. That was absolute shit by Commodore. You know, they're used to building good computers, but when they released that Commodore game system, 64 game system, was basically a cut version of the Commodore 64 without a keyboard and no other bits, just a cartridge slot and joystick ports. It was crap. They made a terrible mistake. Don't know much about the Amiga games console, the CD32. Never owned one. It was a games console, so I didn't want to own one. No, I ain't got nothing against game consoles, by the way, but I just didn't want a games console. I've owned game consoles, yeah, but I prefer a computer. You can do more stuff with it. It ain't just about playing games. And I think there's going to be a few people out there that ain't going to like this, but you know, this is the way I felt, and I felt that's how Amstrad users got let down, because they left things way too late and they developed a promising system and it didn't deliver. I mean, people own the GX4000, they're going to be disappointed. There was only about 20 odd games released for it. Come on, I would have been pissed if I would have bought that. Not so pissed if I bought the the Plus computer, because I know I've got loads of games for it to use, so it wouldn't be so bad. But if you was expecting cartridge, didn't work, didn't happen. And I think there was only a few games for that was enhanced. The rest of them were CPC ports of games to put on cartridge. Which is a pity. It was a pity, but you live and learn, I suppose. As far as I know, all these new Sky Plus HD boxes, I think they're all made by Amstrad. Go into the system and check who made it. You'll probably find they're all Amstrad. So they are still going, but obviously they ain't got their branding on it no more. But feel free to leave your comments. I know there's going to be some Amstrad enthusiasts will, and I think I know who they are. Don't mean nothing nasty, you know, I'm just saying what I think was the truth. Well, Amstrad fucked up basically, yeah. And I'm saying that's a dead shame, because Amstrad did produce wonderful, brilliant computers. And on this bombshell, I'm going to end this video. So thank you for watching. Please comment. More than welcome. No negative, no arseholes allowed. You know, leave a decent comment. You know, I know some of you will. Thank you for watching. Until next time, and goodbye.